Have a go.
Let's do it. Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to yet another live Q&A, variety show actually. We're going to be doing not just Q&A, but we have a few things for you to, aquariums for you to react to today.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Actually, we also have a couple photos from our winners. The winner sent us from the 100K giveaway.
Oh, awesome.
And they asked if we could, comment quickly on their aquarium. So we'll do that as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hello, everyone. It's so good to have you guys here with us. Thanks for joining us as usual. Where are you guys from? I always love to find out where people are watching us from. So let us know in the chat where you're watching from today.
England,
yeah, right.
Nice.
Cool. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. Something's different?
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure.
Something feels a little different.
I don't know what it is.
It's hard to put my finger on. It reminds me of that time I shaved my beard off.
That was weird.
Right?
And it took some time to put my finger on what was different.
Yeah. And it took a while to get used to.
Yeah. But I liked it.
Yeah. Do you guys know what's different?
Yeah, if you know, let us know in the chat.
Wow. Chicago, Canada, Wyoming, Massachusetts, Illinois,
Pennsylvania,
South Africa.
Oh, yeah, Pennsylvania, but I'm a newfie. All right, cool.
Awesome.
New York, Arizona.
Background. Ontario. Headshot nailed it.
Background. Where is background? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where background is.
Ontario. New York.
Caraco?
Mexico. Hola. Curacao, Texas. Hi, Brian and Thomas from Scotland. Hey! All right. Wow. Saskatchewan, Edmonton. Mitchell,
all over the
Chicago.
place.
Yeah, lots of. Hi, Thomas and Brian from England. Yeah. Okay, well, let's read that one. France, Glasgow, Scotland. Very cool. Welcome, everybody, one and all. So as you can tell, yes, someone did call it out. We've changed this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Added a little flair to our. It's still a basement, as you can clearly tell, but
it's a basement with style.
Yeah, we put some effort in. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. It'll make these streams a little more enjoyable to watch. I see you guys already have questions, so we're going to get to it. We were just chatting, actually, right before we started.
Yeah, we're thinking about changing up the question format a little bit.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to...
Yeah, so when we first started doing these years ago when we were much smaller, it was easy to go sequentially, try and answer every question we got to. But now that we have, a lot of you people joining us every week, we have so many people, it's kind of hard to get to all the questions, and we end up only really getting through the first chunk sequentially. So I think we're going to try this week, just give it a shot. We're just going to...
ask random questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick random questions out of the chat rather than sequentially, and go from there and see how it is. So if we like it. If we don't, we don't. But we'll try it.
Yeah.
Should we start with a question?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. There's no questions currently because everyone's telling us where they're from. Good morning from California, Boston,
Midland,
Ontario. Yeah. Okay, well, first one, what is the best food for plecos?
That's a good question. It really depends on the pleco species. Some plecos are, what's the term? I don't remember. Some of them eat wood. Some of them are mostly herbivores. Some of them are actually a little more on the carnivorous side of things and actually need a fair bit of animal protein. So it depends on what kind of pleco you have, and it's really important to research that. If we're talking things like royal plecos, they definitely eat quite a bit of wood. So having some driftwood in the tank will help with their diet. There are also specialized foods that have some woody content to them. Otherwise, just your plain algae wafers or algae discs are a pretty good option for most plecos. Plecos will often take things like cut up cucumber, blanched bell peppers, I hear is pretty good. I've never tried that myself, but I hear it's pretty good. And if you have plecos that are a little bit more on the meaty side of things, there are also sinking discs that you can get for things like corydoras and omnivorous fish. That'll work a little bit better for them. You can also do things like sinking shrimp pellets, so on and so forth. But yeah, it really depends on the kind of pleco you have.
Cool. Hi, Brian. Are we on for a Skype chat later? From Stephen Gregory. Yes, we are. We are going to do a Skype chat right after this. So if you guys don't know, for those of you who didn't know, we did a 100,000 subscriber giveaway. And to our worldwide subscribers, we did a giveaway for 10 video chats with
this guy
right here to kind of, chat, look at your aquariums. And Stephen Gregory was one of the winners. So we're going to chat with him after this is over.
Awesome.
So yeah, I got you on Skype and I will give you a call once it's all done. Well, he'll give you a call. I'll just be sitting there awkwardly not knowing what to do. Next up, can you keep different geophagus together and with Lost. And with threadfin Akara. I didn't.
Threadfin Akaras.
Tank mate suggestions? Thanks.
Yeah, so I actually kept Akaras and a few different types of Geophagus in the same tank, and I had no issues. I'm going to say it's probably not going to be too big of a deal. I mean, Geophagus aren't the most aggressive of cichlids. And if you have a decent number of fish in the tank, I think I had 3 different species of Geophagus, and I had a pair of each. And then I had a pair of electric blue Akaras, I think it was. Anyways, I didn't have any issues with aggression between any of the fish. They cohabited just fine. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it at all. You should be able to do it as long as you have enough tank space and you get, I would say, at least 6 fish in there. You should be fine.
Sweet. Next up, actually, you know what? Speaking of that 100K giveaway, by the way, before we jump into more questions, we got a few photos from people who won.
Yay!
So we'll throw those up just for fun here. So this is our Freshwater Master Test Kit winner.
Nice.
And of course, I jumped into this with having the deets up on my phone to read. But they sent us this photo of their tank. What do you think, man? Cool little tank.
I like it. Yeah, so
nice.
It looks like a nice little low-tech planet tank. Got a whack load of moss in there. Maybe some crypts or Anubias. It's hard to tell. Photos on your computer is far away from me.
Oh, yes, it is. And I can't really move it closer, unfortunately, without disconnecting and ruining
everything. Yeah, those might be crypts. No, it's really nice. I like the like spidery driftwood that's in there too. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, very cool. And congrats on winning the prize.
Yes, Master Test Kits are fun. Everybody should have one of these test kits. If you don't have one, or at least like a Master Test Strip that tests for all the basics, being ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, pH, GH, KH. If you don't have that, you should get one. Testing your water is super important. You should do it fairly regularly. It gives you a lot of insight into how dirty your tank gets, how fast it gets that dirty, and when you should be doing all your maintenance, how often.
Yep, I actually need to pick up a test kit myself because along with the new studio, I really did the main driver for this is that I need to set up these tanks with my kids, and I didn't really have a space that like worked to shoot the video to do it because we always shoot at your house.
Right.
To shoot here, I needed a space that looked all right, and the white backdrop and the garbage, it just wasn't great. So now that this is done, I can actually set up the tanks with my kids, and I need the test kit to be able to properly do that. I've never done it before, so I want to make sure I do it right.
I think I have one of those in my house for you.
Sweet. Okay, well, I'll definitely grab that. This is from Philippa Robinson, by the way, that photo. She says, "Hello, Brian and Thomas. I won this testing kit. It might not be a huge rad aquarium or sump, but it's still a very important part of keeping my aquariums healthy."
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. Love your videos. And Sunny D, Push Up, and Merengue, the honey grommies, say hello. Hi. So that's cool. Yeah, we had them win, and then we actually had someone who won the microbe lift. Actually, we'll save that for later for the React series. But we have more photos for you guys soon.
We got a super chat.
We had a super chat. Actually, we had a couple super chats. Let me get to the first one. Filtration Recommendations. This is from Defiant Mofo. So I love your username, and I love saying it out loud. Thank you so much for that. Filtration recommendation for 125-gallon freshwater.
If it's not drilled for a sump and you don't want to go that route, I would say I would go with either a pair of the larger Eheim Pro 4s, depending on what fish you want to keep. But a pair of 600s, Eheim Pro 4 600s would be phenomenal. You could do a FX4 or an FX6, depending on how much like what the bio load is going to be. If you're doing African cichlids, you could probably do an FX6 with no worries at all. But yeah, big canister is long story short. And if your tank's drilled, I would 100% go for a sump and just never look back. What sump? Probably a Pro Clear. If you're going saltwater, the 4-in-1s are awesome. If you're going to go freshwater, you could do a 4-in-1, or you could just do their regular reef sumps. They're also really, really good. Just give you a lot of space for tons of media.
Sweet. Another super chat from Graham Gosling. So thank you so much for that. What light would be best on a 60-gallon, 24-inch tall, almost cubed planet tank, maybe high-tech in the future?
There is a lot of options for lighting. So if you want the ability to go high-tech in the future, I would probably push you towards either the Ecotech XR15 freshwater light, or a couple of the AI Prime freshwater lights. They're both really, really good options, and you have the ability to dim them quite a bit, so you can dim them down to whatever par level you need them to be at, essentially. And if you don't have a par sensor, then just you kind of start low and then increase the light a little bit day over day until you hit a sweet spot with low-tech lights or low-tech plants. But yeah, if you want the ability to go high-tech and not have an issue with it, I would say probably one of those two LEDs is going to give you the least amount of sealing, so that you can just keep going. No sealing at all.
All right, let's see. I have a 55-gallon reef. The algae is taking over. I have a lawnmower goby and a yellow tang to help. Any other suggestions? I do clean, scrape, and water change every week.
The question is, what is causing the algae? So I would probably start with nitrate testing and phosphate testing. And you could also follow that up with silicate testing. So algae is always feeding on something. And if, despite removing it yourself and having the correct cleanup crew to try to, maintain it, if it's outpacing you still, there's got to be a reason for it. So I would try to nail down what it is that's high, whether it's phosphates or silicates. Nitrates, I mean, you can get relatively high nitrates and still not have a ton of algae. So maybe phosphates and silicates is where I would start. If you find your phosphates are high, there's media to remove phosphates. If you find silicates are high, there's ways to get rid of silicate too, whether you're doing media or water changes. The other thing you want to do is test your water source, because if you are getting, your water change water, if the water source itself is high in phosphate or silicate or nitrate or whatever, that, or even iron, that's going to affect how much algae you're getting in the tank. Because if you think you're removing nutrients and you're actually adding nutrients that the algae can use, that's even worse. So you could test your source water before you mix salt. You can test your source water after you mix salt, and just see what happens. But yeah, that's where I would go next. If you're already doing physical maintenance to remove it and you're already good for a cleanup crew, you got to start doing some sleuthing. Turn into a gumshoe detective. I mean, same thing.
I love that term, though, gumshoe. Let's bring it back.
Sticky shoe.
Now, before we get to more questions, I wanted to mention we did a video this week. We published a video earlier in the week.
Yep.
A studio update.
Yep.
In 360. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, I want to just link that to you guys to watch after this. It was pretty cool. We got a new 360 camera, and we are having fun with it while we can. And when we get some aquariums, we'll be able to put the camera in an aquarium, do some pretty cool stuff. But what are we looking at? I know you just did the update this week, but what are we looking at time-wise to be able to get back in the studio and shoot?
We're really close. Okay, so since that was posted, all but one of the doors are back up. Most of the baseboard is up at this point.
Nice.
A lot of the shelving stuff that they had taken down, they've put back up. We are close. Like
Awesome.
I feel like we're probably a week from being able to do like the final walkthrough and just make sure that everything's okay and I sign off on everything. I'm still waiting for the window to get replaced. I know they want to replace like the water heater just because they don't know how high the water got, and they just said it's easier to replace it. Yeah. So no, we're super close.
Awesome.
Like super close.
Because we got a bunch of cool builds coming up. I mean, we still have that reef build that we want to do. Everything's looking on track to be able to, as far as you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that build, it's going to be ridiculous. So so that build is chugging along. I really want to try to release that build all in one shot for you guys, kind of like maybe premiere the first episode and then day over day release a new episode kind of thing, instead of you guys having to
wait.
Yes, I know a lot of people out there are like, it takes you guys forever to get through builds, and it's true. So I want to kind of do this a little bit differently. So we'll keep making other videos and stuff and be doing that in the background and then release it kind of all in one shot. I might tease on our community tab or something. I might tease some schematics or drawings or some little updates here and there while it's happening. And we're working really hard to see if Brian and I can go for a little visit down to where it's getting made to kind of do something really fun with it. So we'll see what happens, but it's coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, a lot of, I think what we're going to be doing is moving aquariums that have been moved out back in there. I kind of got to restart, which we could document too, restart the high-tech planted build. A lot of the baby tiers died off just from being grown immersed, then submersed, and then within a couple of weeks immersed again. They did not like that.
Homie don't play that.
Yeah, not at all. So we got lots of stuff coming. We'll have some fun.
Well, I'm excited to get back in there.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm so tired of not having that space. It's not fun. Like, I've got, my tanks are now upstairs where my kids are, and they're young, right? I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And right now my 2-year-old's obsessed with throwing things. I'm sure you can imagine the heart palpitations I have when he's in that room throwing things around near a glass aquarium. I'm like, oh God, just kill me.
So that's why I'm glad I'm keeping ours down here. We're going to build them together.
Smartest thing ever.
And when it's time to feed them, or if they want to come see them, they can. But all their play area is upstairs because they're 4 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
And my kid just last year broke a new 55-inch TV, swung a toy golf club at it, and broke it last year. And so it's just sitting, and I can't bring myself to throw it away even. So I'm not even keeping these anywhere where they're going to be hanging around constantly. So I think that's probably going to be a smart move.
Oh, that hurts my brain.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. But yeah, I'm really excited to get back in there, get those videos started. I linked the intro video, the announcement video to that Pokemon theme build. That's in the chat. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's going to be a pretty wild, thing.
It is going to be the most ridiculous tank I've ever had a part in building.
And you got a pretty cool accessory to go along with it in that video. If you haven't watched it yet, check out the video to see the accessory he got. What do you call it? The decoration.
I call it a wall hanger. It's really, it is just a taste of what this build is going to be like. Like, that is just a thing. He's like, here's a decoration for the wall.
Yeah.
That's not even the tank. So we're theming this tank completely top to bottom, like. The filtration's everything's custom. There's nothing on this tank except for, I think, maybe the lighting and some of the things inside.
Yeah.
That everything else is custom. Even some of the ornaments and stuff are custom. That's right. I said ornaments in a reef tank. Get over it. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be bonkers. Yeah, so we're really excited for that.
/ vivarium. It's going to have a vivarium attached to it.
Check out the video. He draws out the plans, the vision for it. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. Another question here, a quarantine query. Now, we do have a video, which I'll link as well on quarantining your fish, but for the sake of everyone here, for inverts, including non-corals, A, how long should you quarantine for? And B, what should you watch for during that quarantine period?
Inverts other than corals?
Yeah, except for inverts, including non-corals.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Here's the thing. If you're going to quarantine coral, which I highly recommend, first off, you should also the video on how to dip coral.
Yes, I will do that.
Grab that as well.
Good
so
idea.
Anytime you're going to get new coral and put it in your tank, or you're going to put it in quarantine, always want to dip it first. Knowing how to do a proper coral dip is really, really important. And there's different things you can use to dip coral, but as long as you have a coral dip product, this is how you can do it. The idea is you want to try to remove any pests on the actual coral and prevent those pests from getting into your tank where they could possibly have an outbreak and spread and cause a lot of damage to your existing reef, which is terrible. It's happened to people and it's not fun. It's hard to deal with. So it really depends on the kind of coral you're keeping. With a lot of SPS, including montiporas and stuff, you're going to be looking on the coral for things like nudibranchs, so montipora nudibranchs, which look like little white, almost like doilies that are folded in half. They're tiny. They'll leave little egg masses on it. When you flip over a montipora like a capricornus, you'll see on the bottom if they're hurting the coral, you'll see like a white band of recession that moves closer and closer to the edge from the bottom of the coral underneath. With digitata, it can be very similar. They'll hide in the crevices of the rock that coral's on. They'll hide in the crevices of the coral itself. So you want to make sure there's nothing like that on it. With other SPS, you're looking for things like red bugs or aquapora eating flatworms, which can be very, very hard to detect. They're extremely small. So having a magnifying glass or something that you can, push that colony towards the front of the pane of glass and be able to look at it very, very closely with a magnifying glass or something like that would help a lot. Usually you have reduced polyp extension. You'll see whitening of the tissue in spots. That is an indication that you might have one of those two predators on the coral itself. With zoanthids, we're looking for things like sundial snails, which are round snails that have a almost zebra-like pattern. They look very much like a sundial. We're also looking for zoanthid-eating nudibranchs, which usually are a brownish nudibranch with green, looks like little frills on its back or little tentacles on its back. They typically are the color of the coral that they're eating. So if you have zoanthids that are primarily red, you'll notice that those little tentacles on its back are probably going to be red. So they're the same thing. There's going to be egg masses that will be on the side of individual polyps. It'll be a little circle. You'll need to remove that manually. I tend to use paper towel and to try to wipe them off. They're very sticky. And tweezers, and obviously the actual adults themselves. Now the killer is that the adults you'll be able to get off of in all of these situations, usually with a dip. The things that do not come off with a dip are the eggs. Eggs have a very, very thick mucus layer around them to protect them from predation and other things. Unfortunately, other things also includes coral dips. So there are not many coral dips, very few. I haven't actually come across any that do a very good job of removing eggs. You usually have to do that manually. So it takes a lot of eyeballs and looking at. Now, how long you do this for, that process you want to do the second you get the coral. Then you want to continue to look at the coral often. I would say a good 60 days if you're going to bother to quarantine coral, 60 days. After 60 days, if the colony looks perfect and is growing and there are zero signs of anything on it, I think you would probably be best to do one final dip and then stick it in your display tank. The reason you do one final dip is because if your quarantine tank is constantly getting new corals put into it, every time you add a new coral to that quarantine tank, you're putting all the corals in that tank at risk of getting something. So making sure that, yes, this colony's fine, there's nothing on it, I've thoroughly looked over it, I've done one last dip, it's time to go in the main tank. But 60 days is a pretty reasonable amount of time. 30 days you could probably do, but that 60 mark is great. If you don't see anything after 60 days, you probably won't see anything. That was a lot of talking!
But we got there! From Varshil MVH Pets, a friend of ours now.
Yes!
We subscribe to him, he subscribes to us, and this is, I think, his third week in a row.
Varshil's got a lot of different pets.
Varshil does, yeah. Can I keep 2-foot Asian arowana in a 4-foot 100-gallon?
Not a good idea.
Negatory, good buddy.
I think most people are going to say that like an Asian arowana needs at least a 6-foot by 2-foot tank. So something like a 180 would be my absolute minimum. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to see arowana in something bigger than that. I would like to see Asian arowanas in an 8-foot tank, so 8-foot by 3-foot. The height I'm a lot less worried about, but 8-foot, 3-foot, 2-foot would be really good for an adult Asian arowana. Have enough space, hopefully reduce the amount of jumping that arowana is going to do because it has some more space. They are notorious jumpers. If anybody's ever follows Wario Joey, the king of DIY, he's had his arowana jump, and it sucks when that happens. And even when you take all the precaution in the world, it can still happen. But I think one thing that really helps in preventing that is not having tank mates. And I'm sure Joey would probably agree with this. Not having tank mates and making sure you have enough space so that when they get freaked out, their only option isn't straight up. Although they tend to want to do that. Yeah, I think you could probably have an Asian arowana if you get it as like a little 6 to 8 inch baby. You could have it in a 100-gallon for probably a year. But, as soon as that arowana starts getting decent size, you're going to want to move it into its full-size habitat and just make sure that you're not stunting or anything like that. And it's got all the space that it's going to need. Are there arowana you could stick in a 100-gallon? I think Giardini arowana stay a little bit smaller, but I don't remember their max size. I don't remember seeing any that are the same size as an Asian arowana. So Giardinis might be an option. I think they're Australian. I don't remember where they're from. But look up Giardini arowana, check the max length on that one. That might be a little bit more appropriate for a 100-gallon tank.
Cool.
And if not, Polypterus are awesome. Get an army of Polypterus. Also known as Bishirs.
Bishirs.
I call them Polypterus because that's their size.
Yeah, because it's
Latin names.
The other name is harder to get right.
Bishir, Bichier,
Polypterus.
Polypterus.
Let's go with that.
Polypterus. It's spelt funny.
Let's just not say that in either of the names. We'll give it a new name that's not confusing at all.
Dinosaur fish.
There it is.
I think it's also called that. I think that's its common name. Common.
You want to do some React?
Yeah,
let's do some React.
Let's have some fun.
Okay, so our very first submission is from John Bass. Jan Bass. I'll throw it up for our subs, and then I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you first, Thomas. Then I'll throw it up for our subs.
Sounds
good. So
good.
you can get your thoughts together.
Yeah.
So that's his name. He has a bit of a write-up, so let me put it up for our viewers here.
Oh, I love that he kept the
tags
cards
there?
for the plants. Because I do the same thing.
So he says, no, he does.
I can't wait to answer your question, by the way, Apex Fizz. I see it there, and we'll get to it. That's a really good question.
He's in this picture, no fish yet, still cycling. I don't know this name. Eliocharis Scylla?
Sure.
Anubias barteri?
Yep.
Barteri? Storagine repens?
I have some of that.
Limnophila sessiliflora.
Sure.
Nailed it. So that's pretty much it. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a great little tank, and as things grow in further and further, which I'm sure they probably already have by now. I like the simplicity of it. I like the small division that's created. It's kind of just edging towards the left-hand third line of the tank.
Mm-hmm.
I love the little pile of rocks there with the, it's probably the Styrogene repens that are tucked in there. That's going to look really nice as it grows in. And then having the stem plants in the back to come up to the surface. It's going to have this really nice feeling of depth front to back because of how that's set up. And I love the grassy, I can't remember how to pronounce that plant, so I'm not even try. But the what looks like kind of like a dwarf hair grass in the front there.
And that'll all spread out over time, I imagine, and like growing really lush. And
on the opposite end, the driftwood and the other rock, I love that you incorporated the same rock on the left side of the tank, on the right side, in just a smaller amount to complement with the driftwood, because it prevents the scape from having a true division. It's not like this half of the tank is one thing and this half of the tank is something else.
Yeah.
Same with the plants. Like the foreground plant is carried over on both sides, along with the midground plant, which is the Styrogene repens. Like that is, I think, key when it comes to softscaping tanks with live plants and stuff, to keep that cohesiveness, even though we're trying to make a separation. I also really like the idea of having the Anubias up top on the second hill. It's not going to grow as tall as the stem plant. It's not going to be as bushy as the stem plant. And it has a different texture, but it both fills space very well, while also having a lot of airiness to it. So, you can still see through all the leaves and all the stems, and fish can use that as shelter while still being visible, which I also really, really like. Ultimately, the tank looks like it's going to be phenomenal, probably around the 5-month mark, just based on Anubias growing very, very slowly, and my experience with the Styrogene repens in a low-tech kind of setup. Yeah. I hope I get to see the update of this tank, because I think it's going to be really nice. The simplicity is great. I actually would say that not having a black background on this tank was probably the right choice, because the filter is gray and the wall behind the tank is somewhere in that realm. So if we had a black background, that filter would just stand out more. So yeah, good call.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks so much for sending that in. We'll do another one real quick.
Sure.
This one is from Tung. T-U-N-G,
nice.
Tongue. So let me put it up for our subs here.
Yeah.
Our subbies. There we go. All he said was aquarium, 60 liters.
I like it. What are those, like little ember touches or fire rasboras or something? I don't know what those are. Some shrimp is down there as well. They're teeny little redfish.
Oh, those are super small.
Yeah, no, they're super cute. I think they're a rasbora of some kind. I love it. I love that there's just this tiny little corner of sand, and then you've done what I really like seeing, which is you've got a finer grain sand moved into a thicker gravel, like a pea gravel, and then to a slightly larger stone. Like having that transition is what makes the edge of like that planted area seem more natural, right? I really, really love that. I love the little lantern type thing that's in the corner there. Really classy for a little ornament. I love the mixture of plants. Now, for those of you who don't know, I live rurally in the middle of nowhere. Brian's actually been in my place multiple times.
Many times.
I have a brook that runs my entire property. It's more of a stream, I guess. It's pretty big, but it's not a river. Anyways, there's tons of moss down there and grasses and stuff that grow right at the river's edge. And I cannot tell you how similar the carpeting section of this aquarium looks to the edge of my brook. Like, it is on point. It looks super natural, and I really, really like that. I know a lot of people these days are going for very, very clean, aesthetically simple aquascapes where the plants don't really run into each other very much. Everything's very marginalized and separated so that there's clean lines everywhere. Although this tank doesn't follow that aesthetic, it is so nice to see something that, to me, looks very, very natural. while still being a very, very clean looking aquarium. So I love the driftwood that is absolutely covered in moss. Some people might not even notice there's driftwood there. And the stem plants in the background and around it are trimmed pretty thin, like nothing's really super overgrown, while still being a very mature setup. Like this is not, this wasn't recently done. This is probably, I would say, at minimum 3 months old, probably closer to 6 or 7. Hard to say because I don't know how many times it's been trimmed. It could be 3 years old and it's just been trimmed a billion times. But very, very nice, really good work. Nice black background or no background and black behind the tank.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in, Tom. Appreciate it.
Very cool.
Back to the Q&A.
Yes.
Okay, so Apex Fizz super chatted us, and for those of you who again may not have joined us before on one of these live streams, if you want your question answered, you need a question, the situation is dire and you must have an answer, you can always super chat us and we'll bump your question right to the top. We'll get there right away. And so Apex Fizz, thank you so much. Hey Thomas.
Hi.
Have you ever been shocked or electrocuted in this hobby?
If I was electrocuted, I wouldn't be here right now. And that is just a technicality.
But shocked?
Horribly so, yes. More than once.
the horrors.
I know. I'm just remembering. So I'll tell you, I guess 3 stories. So the least I've been shocked that I can remember is maybe 4. By an aquarium heater that had cracked. I was doing a water change and I had my hand in the tank and I could not figure out.
Why does this hurt?
It felt weird. Right? It felt like the water was fuzzy. It sounds so stupid. It felt like the water was fuzzy.
Yeah, like a vibe.
I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what it is. The heater was broken in the tank. I was just doing maintenance on, I used to do maintenance on, aquariums for people's offices and stuff like that. And they had a big ID shark or something that I guess smashed into the heater. And I didn't know until I put my hand in it. And then I unplugged it. Unpleasant, but not a big deal. After that, I have held an electric catfish. I was told that, this is before I knew what they were, that it was a velvet catfish and that it was the softest fish ever.
It feels fuzzy. I've felt this before.
Yeah, we pull really stupid pranks when you work at a fish store. And I was like, okay. So I touched it and that thing zapped me. First of all, it is a crazy soft fish because it's got skin. So it's like, oh, but it zapped me.
And it is like you said you stuck your hand in the tank and that felt fuzzy, but this is like a sharp, yeah.
This was, if you've ever, had a really bad shock at an office building or something where you grab a metal handle after being on a carpet and you get zapped hard and you pull your hand back.
Similar
That's
to that,
what it was like. And I smashed my elbow on the because it's like a rack system, so I hit my elbow on the rack on the way out.
And then what'd you do with the fish,
habitually? Oh, it was. I didn't pick it up. It was just in the tank. I was just like, "Hey, buddy!" Ah!
You're squeeze it. Oh!
Yeah, and then so the worst one. I'll tell you the worst one. The worst one I ever had. I was working on the biggest tank I'd ever personally owned. It was a 250-gallon tank. I had 400 watts of metal halide on it, and I was setting up an extra 400 watts of VHO, if you remember that, VHO lighting. So this is very high output fluorescent tubes. It was all wired by somebody because it was like a kit, right? So the end caps and everything, and then you just kind of wire them to the ballast.
Sure.
It wasn't hard to do, but I had a wire that I didn't realize was the moret wasn't very tight on. So it was just a little bit exposed, and I was working in the tank, and the tank is saltwater, and this ballast is powering 400 watts of, I know wattage isn't everything when it comes to electricity, but 400 watts of VHO lighting, and my arm, wet saltwater arm, touched the light, like the wire on the light, and it knocked me off the stool I was on, and I hit the bookshelf behind me and sat there for 20 minutes. That was the worst thing that I have ever experienced. I haven't broken bones or anything, thankfully, but that was the worst ever. I was fuzzy. I literally didn't want to get up. I felt weird.
I'm just going to sit here for a couple minutes.
Basically, and I'm just sitting there I hope that never happens again. Long story short, I had an electrician come and kind of fix everything and cover it all, and I wasn't very I was young. All right. I was like 18, 19, but I survived. Yeah, that was the worst I've done. Just be safe, people. Don't do what I did. Be safe. But yeah, that was the worst. And I hope that and nothing like that ever happens again. Ever.
Fingers crossed.
It might be why I'm the way I am now.
It's your origin story.
This is how I became. What did they call me last time? Fish Jesus?
Yeah.
Thanks for that one. That's never going away.
And Brian, also a part of this super chat. And Brian, how do you keep a straight face behind the camera with Thomas's shenanigans?
He doesn't.
I mean,
are you kidding me?
I mean, there are times like I've grown. No, I wouldn't say numb to it because that's I come to I know when he's gonna. You can tell when he's trying to get the info out and when he's lost the track and he's off the track in his head.
I can throw it.
I can see it. I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm about to have an outtake for the end of the video. And then he throws it away and it's pretty funny. It can be tough. But I've come to know his style and what's going to happen. And because I can see it coming, I'm able to, I smile, but I'm able to not like ruin the whole take by laughing because I see it a mile away now.
It used to be worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sure. It used to throw me off. Like he'll say something, I'm like, wait, what? Did I hear that right? What?
Sometimes Brian will just exactly like he just laughed. Sometimes I'll still get him like that. Every once in a while, I'll say something that he hasn't heard me say.
Out of left
was
field.
not expecting.
Yeah.
And I'll get a good laugh out of him.
Yeah.
When I'm throwing a take, sometimes, and I know I'm going to throw it, I'll try to get a chuckle out of Brian because all I'm going to do is, make more work for him to look through all the video anyway. So I might as well try to get a laugh in.
Well, my favorite part is when he does something, when he messes it up or he's like being goofy and he goes, was the camera rolling? Yes. That's an outtake now, isn't it? Yep. For sure. Yeah.
I know when I do something dumb and then realize that Brian's going to use it.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
All right, now let's see. Okay, this is a more general question about general advice. Hi, I recently started looking into getting into the hobby, and I'm planning to start it off with some plants and shrimps. Have you got any advice for me?
Yeah, so when you're starting off, if you're going to start off from ground zero, you've never kept a tank before, brushing up on the basics is probably the easiest way to start. And starting with, if you're going to start with live plants, which you can definitely do, start with easy live plants. And I'm sure you've probably already Googled easy live plants about 1,000 times now. But I'm talking about things that will grow in low light and with minimal CO2 and minimal nutrients. The reason you want to gravitate towards that is because it is really easy to end up with algae issues otherwise. And there are a lot of like pretty decent plants that grow very, very easily. We have a top 5 plants, which Brian's in the process of finding right now to post for you. Some of those are going to include Anubias, like we saw in one of the submissions we got, and Java moss, any vesicularia or taxiphyllum mosses, so Java, Flame, Christmas moss, all of those are really good options. The shrimp are really going to appreciate them, and they will grow in extremely low light environments. So you could use just a standard fluorescent light that comes with the tank or the low output LEDs that come with the tank to start off, and have a lot less chances of running into a bunch of algae. So slow and steady wins the race. Don't rush. That means even with adding your shrimp, make sure you get a test kit and test your water. There's no way to look at your tank and see clear water and know that it's going to be healthy water. You have to absolutely test to know what's in it. And I think actually in our top 5 myths that we just released, I think I went over that. Did I? Or is that in the...
I might be in the upcoming one.
The upcoming one. So yeah, there's another myths video. It was gonna be one, and
it was gonna be like top 10 minutes, but it was like it was like 25 minutes long. I was like, no. So we chopped it
in half.
Yeah, we have another one coming out this week.
But yeah, so just jump on forums too. Like getting advice from YouTubers like myself and other experts in the industry or your local fish store is great. But there is a wealth of advice and help to be had also on aquarium forums. There's lots of them out there. I'm not going to name any in particular because I don't want to play favorites because there are lots of good ones. But, just search, for a planted aquarium forum, a planted tank forum perhaps. Or if you're in a reef nano reef forum, or maybe a reef to reef forum.
Just saying.
Yeah. But, check them out and, there's a lot of support you're going to find there because you're going to have questions along the way, and it's easy to just snap a picture, make a post, and be like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what I've learned so far. This is, the research I've done. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. maybe somebody could give me a shout. And there are so many other hobbyists there that are willing to help give a helping hand. And
as you can see in our chat, like everyone's giving each other advice and pointers.
And this is a perfect example. This is like a tiny look into the generosity that is out there between hobbyists. And you might find that some people are like, I'm tired of these noob questions. Those people just shouldn't be on the internet. But
there's a lot of people that shouldn't be done.
Seriously. But yeah, so that's what I would say. And just, take your time and enjoy it. And don't be afraid to, like, some people really feel pressure to go a lot bigger or a lot smaller or spend more money or spend less money. Just do what's within your budget. Because even if your budget is only $100 to set up a tank, you can set up a small planted shrimp tank for $100. You can do it. Like, absolutely. So
go for it.
Yeah.
Cool. I've seen a lot of questions in the chat here about algae problems. A lot of people saying, I have algae. I've linked our video, our top 10 ways to combat algae.
Right.
I think there was a lot of great tips in there. People saying, what else can I do? How can I slow the growth? Yada yada. So check out that video in the chat. It'll save a lot of time and give you a lot of more in-depth information than maybe we can give you right now. So I've linked that for you. For anyone interested in the plans for the low-tech tanks, the top 5 best plans for low-tech tanks, I linked that as well, so check that out. Next question. Oh, hit the like button if you haven't. I didn't mention that yet, and we're like 46 minutes into this. Hit the like button if you haven't yet. Please do that. It helps us and gets more people here, and then it's a big fish party, and we all have fun.
Yes.
So hit that like button.
We like it when you like, and we love it when you like.
Indeed.
And it helps big time, and we appreciate it.
Yep. Next up is a Juvenile Koi Betta, good for a 2.6 gallon planted tank.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. You got a filter on there. You got a heater on there. Yeah. I mean, really, you could keep that beta in there for... You could do it for a long, long time. But I would say a Juvenile Koi Betta, probably 6 months to a year if you get like a wee little one. But I would say, like, if you can bump up to a 10 gallon within the next 4 months, 3-4 months, that would be ideal. And it won't cost very much. You could probably use a lot of the stuff you've already got on your 2 gallon and just move it over.
Cool. Next up, are copepods and Daphnia the same thing?
No.
What are they?
Copepods are copepods. And Daphnia is, I think, some kind of cyclops type thingy. I don't really remember.
But not the same thing.
They're not identical, no.
Okay,
but they are both, okay, so they're the same in that they are both a microfauna that fish eat, right? So they're a zooplankton of sorts. One's typically considered freshwater zooplankton, the other one's usually saltwater, but I'm sure they're probably freshwater copepods. I don't know. But yeah, they're just a small food source for fish. If you can buy them frozen and feed them to your fish, you can buy them live and feed them to your fish. You can have them randomly show up in your tank, just because you bought a new live plant and stuck it in there, or you started a reef tank, and even though you used all dry rock, the one coral you brought in on a plug ended up starting a colony of amphipods and copepods and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, they're not identical, but they serve similar purpose if that's kind of what you're asking.
Now, do shrimp go well with dwarf gouramis or pearl gouramis? One or the other? Neither? Both?
You'd probably be fine with larger shrimp. I'd be worried about gouramis trying to take small shrimp. So I would say if you wanted to do like flower shrimp or pom-pom shrimp, I think is the other name for them, vampire shrimp, or like adult-sized Amano shrimp would all probably be fine. I mean, flower shrimp get huge, but I don't know if I'd be comfortable going smaller than an adult Amano shrimp just because the gouramis might go after little shrimp, like volcano shrimp or cherry shrimp or whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
All right.
Cardinia and Neocardinia, I think they're called. Latin names. I'm trying to remember this stuff, guy. So many Latin names. I don't speak Latin.
Well, you could have fooled me. When you set up a new tank,
sure.
How do you prevent melting of plants? I'm using Tropica 1-2 Grow.
Plants melt for various reasons, but usually plants will melt if they were grown immersed and are submersed, and do not have an abundance of CO2 or access to that CO2, so they will typically have die-off. The other thing is a lot of plants that are grown immersed and then submersed have kind of die-off that they go through where their air leaves and aquatic leaves are a little bit different, and they'll grow new leaves for the aquatic environment, and those leaves will remain, but all of the leaves that they had, or the majority of they had in open air, will end up dying off. So the structure of the leaf changes a little bit, or so it seems anyhow. So the new leaves survive and the old leaves don't. The other thing that could cause melting in some plants is if you have plants with rhizomes and you bury the rhizomes. So that will include things like Java moss and Anubias. They have a hard rhizome that all the leaves come out of, and roots that come down from that rhizome. The roots can be submersed under whatever substrate you have, but the rhizome itself, that hard tube that the roots are coming out of and the leaves come out of, that cannot get buried, because if it gets stifled, it can rot, and if it rots, then the whole plant rots. So not entirely sure which of those situations it is for you, but those are some of them. Obviously, there are other things like an overabundance of certain types of fertilizer can cause decay in plants. There are diseases and stuff that can cause decay in plants, but I don't usually find that happens in aquatic plants. It's usually terrestrial plants I find that those kinds of diseases stick to. But yeah, hopefully that gets you kind of in the ballpark of looking for the answer.
We had a pretty awesome suggestion from Bubbly Pumpkin, who's with us almost every week. Video idea. Thomas says real fish names mixed with fake fish names, and Brian has to figure out which ones are real. I love it.
I absolutely
love it. All right, yeah, we'll do that.
The hard part is I'm going to make up stupid fish names.
Yeah, you should...
I'm going to Google it, and they'll exist.
I don't think you have to make them up. I have a feeling on the spot you'd be able to come up with something pretty off the wall and fool me. I think so.
How about we start right now?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Balloon lumpfish.
Balloon lumpfish?
Yes.
Fake.
It's real.
Really?
Yeah. How about...
Let me go. I want to Google a balloon lumpfish, because that sounds bananas. Balloon. I spelled balloon wrong, but that's fine. Lump and fish. Does it have a lump? Is it like a balloon?
They look like little balloons.
Why? They're on a balloon. Why?
Yeah, but there's pictures on them off a balloon.
Oh, look at that.
It's just a common name, right? They're cute, eh?
Is it like a puffer or something? Or
no, they're a lumpfish, so they've got...
I didn't know lumpfish is a thing either.
Yeah, it is. There's different types of lumpfish, but so they have a modified pair of fins on the bottom that act like a suction cup. There's a really good picture right there of it.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they can. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It almost that is terrifying. That one almost looks like a lamprey.
Oh dear Lord.
But yeah, so they can stick to things very, very securely, and it makes them happy, I guess.
Ugh. All right, cool. I would never get that fish.
Yeah, I had a feeling you wouldn't believe me.
That will haunt my nightmares.
I'm so glad.
Balloon lumpfish. All right, hit me again.
Emperor knifefish.
Emperor knifefish.
Yes.
No, I know there's a thing called a knifefish.
Yes.
The emperor part is what I'm not sure about. Emperor fake.
That's real too.
You see, that's the thing. You can just add whatever you want, any noun in front of a real fish name, and you'd get me.
Yeah, probably.
Emperor knife set. There's a knife set. Knife fish.
Yep.
Whoa! That gigantic one he's holding is a real.
You got
or is
it.
that like a?
Yeah, and you can buy
is that like
those,
forced
man.
perspective where he's holding it real close to the camera and it looks bigger than it is? Oh, it looks like an. Oh, that looks.
That's
like
a
an
ghost.
eel.
That's a. I think that's a ghost knife.
Whoa!
But yeah,
cool looking Sue. All right, well.
All right, well, we'll make an actual video. I'll get some really funky names and find some really funky fish.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea. I like that a lot.
Someone says I want a lumpfish now.
I do too. They're cold water, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know where I would even get one. I don't think they're in the hobby really. They might not do well in the hobby. There's lots of fish out there that are super cool, but just like keeping them is impractical and not really Jeez, I'm burping because of this pop. Not really feasible. Yeah, just because of their requirements. But
would you choose a Betta or a pea puffer for a 5-gallon planted freshwater tank, and why?
I'd probably go with a Betta.
And why?
And I know people hate that I say Betta.
Every time we have a video and you say Betta, and it was like, oh, Betta.
It's Betta.
Betta,
tomato,
dude.
tomato. Like, quite literally, it doesn't matter which way you say it. People just like to be right.
But I've never heard anyone say tomato unless they're from like England.
England, yes.
So,
but that doesn't make it any more incorrect.
Well, I'm wondering, with betta and beta, is there a regional... is it like in North America, it's beta, but in Europe, it's like, I got my betta. But here it's like, oh, beta. I'm wondering, is it...
I like how they're instantly like snobby and posh.
Not to say you all are, but it's just fun to do it that
yes,
way.
Quite. Look, I'm probably not going to stop saying beta. It's just not going to happen.
That's fine.
So
why would you choose that?
If you want to hate on me for it, that's cool. But yeah, why a betta? I feel like they are just a very easy fish to keep in close quarters, and because they do a lot of resting during the day, like bettas in general can spend a lot of time, especially males, just sleeping on leaves. And it's a weird thing they do, but they do it. Because of that, like the requirement for space is not nearly as high, or not as high priority as for other fish. And I find puffers do a lot less of that. Depending on the species, I have seen puffers that basically don't move most of the day, but a lot of puffers like to spend time in open water, moving around, and they're very curious fish, and they like to explore their space and find forage for food and stuff. Bettas kind of just look up and wait for something to show up. So I would say a beta is probably a better option if you want. Pea puffers, which by the way don't stay the size of a pea. I think they get a couple of inches. You're probably better off going with something like a 20 or 30 gallon and getting a few of them for that.
Sweet. All right. Fair enough. So, like I said, we had a submission, a photo sent in of one of our 100K giveaway winners. They sent in, they didn't send in a photo of the prize, but they did send in photos of their tank to show what the prize would be used for. Okay. So let's do a little bit of a little mini react here. Bam! Graphic! And that's enough of that. So this person, they actually have two tanks, and they're both really cool looking. I personally have my own favorite. I'll show you the one that isn't my favorite first. It's still very nice, but I'll show you the one that isn't my favorite first.
I wonder if our favorite will be the same.
You know what? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I don't think I put it on my... Oh, no. I'll just show you on the phone. I didn't put it on the hard drive here. What a silly boy. Okay, next up, let me just throw it up for our subbies here to see.
Subbies!
So you can get you can lean in here if you want. They can't see you. Okay, so this is hey, my name is Spencer
nice.
Bray, and I was one of the lucky winners of the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. I received a 16-ounce microbe lift bacterial supplement from Ecolabs. I'm super happy with the product, and I've included a picture of the product and the tanks. Oh, I didn't see the picture of the product. And the tanks I'm using it in. Thanks again. Maybe Thomas can review my tanks. So here we are. So didn't give any actual input on the tanks themselves.
I love it. That's actually a really nice tank. I love the sand color. It reminds me of the sunset gold that I'm so fond of. The rock looks phenomenal. It's well placed. The rock looks like it very much has been that way, which is sometimes tough to do. Sometimes arranging rock in a way that makes it look like they've just always been there can be tough. But it very much looks like that. I love the smaller stones on top of the sand that kind of give you that transition from the larger pieces of rock to smaller rock to then the sand, which I'm so very fond of. Looks like we've got maybe a nice piece of driftwood in the background as well. That's creating a beautiful slope from like the top right-hand corner, kind of very sharply down towards the middle of the tank, which is nice. The plants look phenomenal. The blushing in the plants, the red colors are really, really nice, and they're growing. Looks like very healthfully. I don't see any lack of leaf. I don't see any algae buildup. And then I love the plants in the background in the center of the tank. It's just a really nice, cheery lime green. And I love that they kind of look like little fans just stretching up to the surface.
Yeah, it's super cool. I really love that.
Yeah, no, this is beautiful. It's a really, really nice tank. I'm so glad you're enjoying the product and you're going to be using it for your tanks. Like that's gorgeous.
Now we have someone in the chat here, Carrie Nature, asking, what's the plant on the very right? I think I have that, but wasn't given a name. Said I love the green in the middle, but the red's all around it. Do you know any idea what that might be?
I don't know, Rotala or something. I'm not amazing with plant names. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a reef guy more than anything else.
Yeah,
right. So plant tanks are not a newer foray. I've done them plenty of times, but I just don't know. I'm not a very good encyclopedia for plant names, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough.
But it maybe a Rotala, rotundifolia, or something like that.
Well, okay, let me throw up this other photo for you guys.
Yeah,
While he
keep
looks
going.
that up, this is the second aquarium that this person sent in. My favorite. I love it. I think it's an amazing looking tank. So let's show you guys. Here it is. Now I love this one. I think it's so, I don't know, this like green, overall green cast, and not just the plants, but the lighting. Something about it is very green and fresh and renewed. I don't know, something about it I love.
Wow!
So,
I think it is Rotella of some kind. I'm sticking with Rotella.
We'll go with Rotella. So this is their second one that they sent in.
Nice!
Yeah.
You know what? I love how different these tanks are and how similar they also are. So, okay, this tank has very little rock, if any. I don't really see any. Maybe one piece in the bottom left there or something.
Yeah. Looks like
Still using a lot of
maybe
reds.
like a little bit on the right here. Maybe there. Yeah. Very
So
small.
in this tank, the reds are the accent and the green is the primary color. I love how wispy the tank is. Like, I don't know if that's what plant that is, but there is this just beautiful wispiness to the driftwood. I love that the moss on the driftwood has been trimmed down real short.
Yeah, someone says great bonsai effect.
Yeah, no, this is very, very pretty. And it's just got a completely different, oh my God, completely different aura. I don't know what else to say. Like the feeling of the tank is just completely different. Feels a lot more kind of jungly and secluded. It's still got a ton of negative space and open space to it as well. And the depth and dimension is really, really great. It is super cool.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if I can pick a favorite. I like them both, but they complement each other really, really well. Like, one is almost the inverse of the other.
Sure. See if I can find the other one again. Yeah. So even just going back and forth there, you can see the difference. Like, it's just...
Yeah, the hardscape on this tank is a lot more prominent, and the softscape on the other tank, or livescape, I don't know what people want to call it these days. But,
yeah. I'm just gonna switch back for our subs to see the difference between the two. Like, so that's one, that's the other one. And then back again. Yeah, really, really neat. Love it.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, thanks for sending those in. And
incredible.
And congrats on winning the microbe lift. And really, we appreciate you guys sending your photos and showing us the tanks that these prizes are going to be going toward. And we're just, we're happy that you guys entered to begin with, because we were super excited about that giveaway.
I'm so flattered that such talented aquarists
I know, yeah.
join us on this stuff.
Yeah.
And subscribe to us. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's... super cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into a few more questions. I think we have like 3 more tanks to react to before the end of this.
Sure.
I think we have about more or less.
And
half
Scarlet,
hour left.
Amazon, I'm sure you will. It's just a matter of practice and drawing enough inspiration and trying to recreate the things you see.
It's practice.
You'll get there. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of this
I got faith in you.
Do it like trial and error.
Yeah.
Try it. It works. It doesn't. Sometimes things just happen, but with practice and time, you're gonna get good at it.
Yeah, a lot of
with
these
anything.
escapes weren't just a one-time deal of somebody who just nailed it their first time.
Yeah.
These are usually people who've been doing it for a long time, and you just get good over time. The more you practice anything, the better you get. Of course I saw you. What do you think I look at the screen half the time? It's not to stare at myself, don't get me wrong.
Goes all shy. And then you yell at her.
No, I see everything everybody says. I do try to read the chat as much as I can. I don't always respond to everything. I see a lot of what you guys say to each other, and I love it. So, But yes, I'm generally reading what's going on if I'm not staring at the camera.
Yeah. Can you use coconut shell in a freshwater aquarium?
Coconut shell?
Coconut shell.
I would say probably. It's probably also going to create some acidity in the water. But in general, nutshells and jungle junk and stuff like that, I've used for blackwater tanks and for blackwater features inside of Vivaria. So yeah, I don't see a reason you couldn't. The only thing I would say is if you're going to use coconut shell, make sure wherever it's coming from, that coconut was never... I don't know what they spray coconut trees with or if they spray them with anything. But if it's coming from a grocery store or something, I'd be a little concerned about what it's come into contact with. Is my only thing.
Yeah.
So I would try to source it from a place where, you're either getting organic, so nothing's been on it, or it's just from an aquatics or vivarium company that produces coconut shell products to be used with pets, so that there's nothing on it. I am always paranoid that wherever I'm getting things from, if it's not specifically from a pet company, that it could have something on it. That terrifies me. I've seen a lot of disasters because of people using products just from wherever. And yes. So
better to be safe then. Sorry.
Yes. And the thing is, I'm not saying don't go DIY or don't find, other places to source things if you can't find them through the channels you want to find them through, but try to vet them too and ask questions to those companies. Make sure that you know whatever you're sticking with your pets isn't going to harm them.
Cool. Next up, and this is a question, just I want to throw this out there for everyone. Someone says, finally got my first stock for my reef. I have a purple/elegant firefish,
nice.
a red firefish,
nice.
and a pom-pom crab. They're all currently in quarantine.
Nice.
Cool. Congrats.
Okay, so one thing I will say though, purple, like firefish in general, fire gobies, whether they're purple or hellfreaky or red, all beautiful fish, love them a lot. They like to be in groups. You can keep them individually for sure. You will see they have interesting behaviors when they're in larger groups, like I'm talking 6 to 12 fish. I know they're not cheap fish, but if you ever want to kind of get the most out of them and see their behaviors, you need obviously a larger tank. The more fish you throw in a saltwater tank, the more tank space you actually need. But they are really cool when you see them schooling and kind of hanging out in groups. And you can even find videos of them being, a little community on YouTube and stuff. So if you want to take a look at that, because I don't know how big your tank is, but yeah, you'll like those fish. They're cool fish. Some of my favorite nano fish.
Oh, someone here, but noise. The click noise. I love it. You guys are hilarious. Next up, noise. Amazing. The tops of my water wisteria have very lush growth, but underneath it looks like they're melting. Any idea of why that is?
It could be lack of light. A lot of plants will have stem plants for sure will get die off further down if the leaves down there aren't producing for them. So if you think of it this way, like if you've got a I'm not going to use that example. You've got a plant and it wants all of the leaves that it's providing nutrients to be also providing for that plant. So if all the leaves on top are blocking light from the leaves below, those leaves are taking up energy and doing nothing for the plant, so it'll often drop them. It's probably what's happening. I can't say for sure without seeing it, but that's probably what's happening.
Now answer this for me. What is a back to the root tank? Because someone here says, I have a betta and a back to the root tank. Any advice for me?
Back to the root.
Let me go. I'll Google it. Back
maybe
to
just
the
like
root.
a simple.
Yeah, it sounds like it could either be like a simple. Yeah, like that basic.
Right,
back to the.
It's an aquaponics system.
Oh, cool! Oh, that's awesome. I want one.
I have owned one of these and grown basil and wheatgrass.
Oh, neat.
Yes.
I want one. Do you have any advice for me and for this person who asked? But mostly me.
Yeah, just whatever plants you're growing in there, swap them out relatively often and grow new plants. Just you don't want the root mass inside of those little cups to get too big and trap a bunch of dirt, and that dirt, not mulm, will get built up in those. So you just want to clean them out and swap out those plants, relatively often. Once your basil is grown full size, or your wheatgrass or whatever plant you're growing, take it out, use that plant, start new seeds, and rotate them. So you do 3 at a time that are, I'd start 3 to start off, give it a couple of weeks so those plants start taking off, and then do the other 3. That way you've always got 3 plants that are in there, because I think it holds 6. And if you want, you can also put plants in the bottom section where the beta is that will be okay with just ambient room light, things like Anubias. They're not going to die being down there in a dimly lit. I've had Anubias Nana Petite grow in a dark bucket. I don't know how, but it's done it. So rotate the plants. Don't let those plants sit there forever. Utilize them, especially if you're growing food plants like wheatgrass and basil and whatever. And in doing that and rotating them, you'll be cleaning out those pots often, making sure those root masses don't kill the plant after they get all balled up. And yeah, it's a great little system. It's a lot of fun.
I really want one. That looks awesome.
Yeah,
we'll see how these go first. I should probably set these up before, but that looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could probably, I might be able to make a video on how to do a riparium type deal, which is similar to that, just utilizing other products.
Mm-hmm. Like a DIY type of one.
Yeah.
It's,
I might be able to. I've worked with so many vivariums and stuff where I had marginal plants are like terrestrial plants and aquatic plants in the same enclosure, or marginal plants using water in a terrestrial setup. Man. Anyways, we'll have some fun. We got all kinds of cool stuff coming, but I'm getting ideas.
Having always kept, this is another question, but Drawer Full of Rocks is one of our regs, and he wanted to share with us. Having always kept olive nerite and tiger nerite snails, I'm stoked to tell you guys I got my first clutch of red and gold racer nerite snails yesterday, so stoked.
Nice!
We're excited for you. That's awesome.
That's so much fun.
Congrats. Yeah.
Send pictures.
Yes, we'd love to see some photos. Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. While we're at it, let's do a little bit more React. You up for that?
Sure.
Graphic! And enough of that too. All right, next up is from Christy. I, of course, don't have it ready. I got excited and wanted to do it and didn't have the email ready, but I'll put it up for you and our subs, and you guys can look at it and give your initial impressions. Let's see it right here. This is from Christy. So,
nice.
What you think?
I think this background and the stones that Christy's got in the front of the tank here, and kind of like throughout the little aquascape, really complement each other. They look good. I love your use of plastic plants in this setup. I like that you've kind of got your rule of thirds down in this tank. You've got like your main rocks plus your Roman ruins. Classic. And a little red accent plant on one side of the tank. And then on the other side, closer to the back of the aquarium, again, we've got a nice tall plant, but a little bit less in terms of like the density, and some, smaller plastic plants in the front, but they're all on the green side of things. So you've just got the one red accent plant. It's nice and balanced. It's super, super simple. It's going to be a very easy tank to maintain. Lots of room for your fish to swim. Pleasing to the eye. You've got your filter close to the, or your heater close to the filter, which is a good idea. That way, you're getting good circulation throughout the tank of that warm water. You don't end up with that inversion where you've got warm water on one side and cooler water on the other side, and the heater's always trying to play catch up. And your fish look like they're doing pretty good. What do you got? Some zebra Daniels in there or something like that? It's hard to see because they're moving and there's flash or something that's making them look all shiny. But yeah,
so she says here, just to give you, I found the email. I have a 29-gallon freshwater aquarium. Had it for about 3 to 4 months. Went through the nitrogen cycle with the help of API Quick Start and testing weekly. I have 9 long fin zebra Daniels and 2 Cory cats.
I can even tell when they're fuzzy.
I used black gravel, fake vegetation, and river pebbles. Also a Roman structure, as we can see. This is an Aqueon 29-gallon starter kit that included everything needed, even a heater. I plan to add a few more Danios in the next couple of days, but not too many. Let me know if my photo makes it in. And yeah, it made it in.
It made it.
And thanks for your helpful videos and educational information. So there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the hobby. You have started down a slippery slope that just picks some speed. The further you get into this and the more you enjoy it, eventually you won't even live in a house. You will just live in an aquarium.
And that was sent a while ago, so she may already be living in an aquarium.
I want to know. You should, just in case
aquatic.
she's not here, you should email her back and be like, so how deep into the hobby are you now?
Yeah, how many tanks do you have at this point is the real question.
I've got my 29 and a 1,000 gallon.
All right, next one here, I'll put up for you, and then I'll throw it for our subs as well.
Okay.
So if my computer wants to load, which it doesn't because it's super slow.
Oh.
Work. What? Oh, I put it up for our subs first, not you.
That's okay.
Our subs got it before you did. So this is it. It won't load for you for some weird reason.
That's okay.
Oh, and I guess they used a cool little video app. Okay, anyway. Hi, Brian and Thomas. Hi.
Hey.
Big fan of your channel. I learned a lot about fish keeping from you, and I just want to thank you for being a great resource for the hobby. I have a 36-gallon bow front freshwater tank, all decorated with fake plants, equipped with an Aqueon hang-on filter, a heater, and an air pump. Just your fish stock, 1 Blue Power Dwarf Gourami, 1 Neon Dwarf Gourami, 10 Neon Tetras, 3 Zebra Danios, 3 Panda Cories. I plan to have a second tank, and I'm following your aquascaping series. I hope to achieve similar results as you. Thank you again, and keep on tanking. From John.
Unless my eyes deceive me, there are at least 4 Zebra Danios.
Maybe they bred and he did not realize.
Oh, no, there's 5. There's 5.
All right.
And there's at least 4 Or 5. No, there's 5 neon tetras
He
too.
said 6 zebra danios.
Oh.
6 zebra danios, 3 panda cories, 10 neon tetras, 1 neon dwarf gourami, 1 blue.
Turns out I was just not listening.
No. Yeah,
I love
the
it.
Best of us.
I love it. This is a really a really nicely done artificial aquarium. There's artificial wood, there's artificial plants, there's the only natural thing is the fish in the gravel, and it works. It looks nice. It's very dense. The only the only like trial and tribulation to having a tank densely populated with plastic plants is sometimes the maintenance can be a little bit much, but it looks like there's no algae in there yet or anything like that, so you must be doing like a decent amount of maintenance, staying on top of it, making sure you're not getting buildup of anything. So it's good.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's a fun little tank, and it's going to be just a lot of fun for a long time to come. Everything looks healthy. Yeah, I dig it. I like fake tanks as much as I like real tanks. If it looks nice, it looks nice to me. It's funny because a lot of people still, like, there are a lot of purists out there, and we kind of go through this evolution of we start off with fake things and we desperately want the real thing, and then we're like, we finally get to the real thing, we're like, there's nothing better than this. If you're in this long enough, you cycle back to just loving everything. You can appreciate anything that's, put together nicely, unless you just stay a purist, and some people do. But I really dig it. I think it's tons of fun. So good job.
Yeah. We have a super chat from ZT Aquatics and Exotics.
Hey!
Awesome name. I love it. Thanks for getting back to me. Thanks for getting me back into the hobby.
Hey!
Tanks.
My pleasure.
3 tanks. Awesome. Wow. ZT Aquatics and Exotics. That's cool. So what kind of tanks do you have? Let us know.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for the support. We love it. Like, I love, inspiring people to keep loving their aquariums and getting into aquariums if they've never been into them, and helping people stick with it when aquariums feel like it's either too much work or you're not getting where you want to be, and you're not getting the advice you need or whatever. Like at this stage in my hobby, I love having my own aquariums, but a really big part of the hobby to me is sharing that passion and that love with everybody else. So I love it. Honestly, one of my favorite things is when you guys tell me how much the channel helps you and inspires you, and it just makes me feel like we're doing a really good job. And that's what we're here for. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Man, I got all touchy-feely there. That's okay.
He's gonna cry. I need to keep a box of tissues just in
I know,
case.
we should.
Someone says here, I just bought tanks number 6 and 7. And Scarlet Amazon says, how to live with severe case of MTS.
That's a good, I don't know. I'm still here. Yeah, it's a chronic problem. Just to, become a millionaire or something, or get a job that pays you exuberant amounts of money so you can just dump that into your hobby.
Any experience for advice on croaking gouramis?
I don't.
Green sunfish?
Don't keep them if they're native. A lot of places don't allow you to keep native fish.
That's very bad.
So I can't advocate for that because I can't.
So don't.
But if it's legal in your area, consider that sunfish are a cichlid. This includes most small, bass-like fish. So that could be rock bass, bluegill, pumpkin seed, green sunfish, blah, 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 blah. Super, super aggressive, and they get quite large. We're talking like bluegill can get, Oscar-sized, just a different shape, like very, very big. But they are insanely aggressive. I'm not telling you how I know this, but they are extremely aggressive fish. So you'll have a hard time keeping anything with them. They're also predatory fish. And if you get them from the wild, you will have a very, very difficult time in most cases converting them from live food. Also, a lot, depending on where you get them, they can carry a host of diseases. So you don't ever want to mix aquarium fish and wild fish, because there are things wild fish will have and can survive with that aquarium fish will die from because they are bred and raised in captivity and they have never experienced said things and have no immunity to them. That's as far as I can go. All right.
Someone asked, do you know the waiting time for the Thomas Reacts? Yeah, it's bananas. That's bonkers. These ones were sent a year ago, and our apologies, but we have well over 1,000 submissions for it. And each React video is like 5 or 6 that we can fit into. And it's like we end up with a 15 or 20 minute video each time.
But then we have the variety show now, which is kind of
we're trying to do that, and we'll have more coming out shortly. But yeah, we have so many to get through in addition to our build videos and our we did the beginner series and all those videos, all these different things that are come up. That unfortunately the Reacts it's just a slow moving beast. So it'll be a while, but we'll try our best.
As slow as that beast is, I thoroughly enjoy it. So please don't stop sending submissions.
Yes.
Flood Brian's in. I want you to break Brian's email with submissions.
I'm starting to miss other emails because they get buried in React.
Come on. Maybe we just need like a separate
I think
email.
I'm going to have to do that. But but it'll be a little while. But sorry about that. We'll do our best. We'll try and get to everything we can. Speaking of which, though, we have one more React. We'll get to it now before our stream comes to an unfortunate end.
And Jeff, I'm so glad to hear that.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Let's see here. This one belongs to Guy or Guy, but I'm going to go with the French pronunciation. This is Guy.
Guy?
From La France. Dear Brian and Thomas, please find attached the photo of my aquarium. I had an aquarium as a kid and always remember it with joy. So when my kids asked me for some fish, I secretly jumped at the chance. I brought a second-hand 400-liter tank and set it up at the end of August, and it cycled 1 month later. The original plan was to do a Lake Malawi cichlids tank. Malawi?
Malawi.
Okay, cool. I totally didn't get it right. But on reflection, we decided we wanted a planted community tank. Current fish are listed below. My wife was
Rainbows.
My wife was a little unhappy at the speed of plant growth, so CO2 was added a month ago. So I'm waiting for the backside of the tank to develop while the front is free for the swimmers. I think I have learned everything I needed from YouTube, especially Big Al's channel. That's awesome.
Yes!
It has been very helpful, so please keep up the great work. Many thanks, Guy.
That is awesome.
So rude, my friend. I didn't put it up on the big screen for you. Looking at the
that's
small
okay.
version there. So he says for fish...
we got some...
you know what? There's the list for you.
Yeah,
You read that list because it's a
So
lot.
I see Basmani rainbows in there. Demisoni barbs, I think. Denison barbs. Yeah, roseline sharks, same thing. Red rainbows, catfish, bristlenose pleco, blue rainbows, lake tebra, orange finned, corridoras. Yeah, man. That's a really, really nice tank. It's obviously a pretty decent sized tank. 400 liters has got to be like, I don't know, 90 gallons, 100 gallons, 120. I don't know. Anyways, I can tell it's big because it's got 2 braces at the top. You see at the top of the photo, you can see the 2 shadows. So this is obviously a decent, it's probably a 6-foot tank. Nice Eheim pre-filter on there too, keeping all the plant junk out of the filter. The fish look fantastic. The nice thing about this tank, and again, this is one of those tanks that I wish was a video.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful photo, but everyone else seeing this photo who maybe isn't used to seeing this type of fish population in the tank, I know it doesn't look like a ton of fish given the size, but these are fast-moving, constantly moving open water fish. And they spend a lot of time moving around back and forth. Rainbows are fantastic for that. They're going to get a lot bigger still. A lot of them look like they're just coming into their adult coloration and can start getting more body size. Like the Bosmanis are going to get a lot deeper in the body. They get very, very broad chested and kind of square at the front. It looks like a little triangular head is sticking out of a meat sack. Like they get really like wide and tall. The other rainbows in there, the red guys, they're going to get even prettier and larger. The turquoise rainbows, same deal. They're going to get much bigger and have a lot more blue in them. This tank, probably by now, honestly, because everything's a year old, is going to be phenomenal. Just fish movement alone. The assortment of plants is really nice too. It's busy. Everything's in the green spectrum. But the nice thing is we've got variations in green, and a lot of variation in leaf shape and leaf texture and plant growth types. So it's going to be a really nice jungly tank while still having a lot of open space right in the front. So the back of the tank will disappear and it'll just look like a deep jungle that goes on forever and these fish are swimming in the foreground. It's going to be phenomenal.
Love it.
I got all excited.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
No, it's a really nice tank. Yeah. The fish look super healthy, and they're just going to get better and better. Really nice tank. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I am so stoked that everybody in the family's involved. Yeah. The kids requested it. Yeah. The husband was like, "Oh yeah, finally," and his wife's involved too.
Where it's like, I don't like it. Let's change something here.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah, awesome. That's
it's a rare instance when your partner is also into your hobby.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't always happen, and like there's like running jokes about people hiding their purchases from their spouse, no matter what the hobby is. In this hobby, all the time, this joke comes up.
Yeah.
But it is so cool when you can share it with your spouse.
Now, it would be nice. This is what I'd be afraid of, is the collaboration can be fun, but what if you have like totally different tastes and styles, and if you have one tank, are you going to be
multiple tanks?
You have to.
You just
right?
get 2 tanks.
You'd have to, right? Yeah. But then it's like you're doing something, and the wife's like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have put that there if I were you. And you're like, oh, I can imagine it would.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. It'd be fun.
Hey, there's pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons.
Would you rather, maybe have differences in taste in the direction of the aquarium and have it evolve into this, like, if it's just one tank you guys can afford, have it evolve into this really cool collaboration of 2 different styles, 2 different, like, interests? Or would you rather feel like you are walking on eggshells every time you make a purchase for your hobby?
Yeah, fair enough.
You be the judge and make your own decision.
But I'm going to be finding out soon because I've been talking to my wife about setting up the tanks with the kids, and she's really excited. She wants to do it with us. She's very talented. She's like she used to be a graphic designer, and she's got a very strong visual sense. And so I'm thinking even like, she can kind of pick one and she can do one if she wants as well, and she's going to blow me out of the water.
Are you guys going to have a tank off?
We could have a tank off. Neither of us have ever done it before, so it might be a pretty terrible tank off.
You know what? I have the perfect idea. So one of the tanks that you have, which I don't see right now.
We have the Betta Trio over there.
It's the Betta Trio.
And have 1, 2, 3 in each of us.
3, yes. Have your kids decorate one.
That'll be hilarious.
Yes. Then you decorate one, and then your wife decorates one, and then you guys can give your feedback on which one you think is
my kids will win every time, hands down.
Yeah.
It'll just be a bunch of Paw Patrol toys like thrown in there and stacked up, and no fish.
You gotta give them the stuff to put in there.
I will. They'll be like, nah, and they'll put in like Chase and Marshall. Like, done.
I love this idea.
Yeah,
already.
all right.
Find like some emblers in various colors to represent the different Paw Patrol dogs.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Like a yellow one for Rubble, a blue one for Chase, a red one for the Dalmatian, whose name I can't remember.
A newbie type tank off is awesome. Love it. Tank off, tank off.
Yes!
I believe it when we see them set up, Brian. Hey, listen, fair. But I'm one step closer, I think. I mean, they're still in the box, so not very much closer.
You know what we need, Brian guy? You know how there's like shop till you drop, tank off till you what? Like, I can't think of anything that rhymes with tank off.
Nothing that we can say. I don't know. Well, we'll come up with something, but we will do a tank off in that case. And then on top of that, we also have the Aquion here, the mini bow, and we have the Fluval Flex here. So we'll have a lot of fun with it regardless. And I'm hoping to do at least one of them this weekend, like maybe this afternoon, not this afternoon, Santa Claus parade, but tomorrow.
Yes.
I may put my kids down, get my kids down here, not put them down here, go downstairs and set up those tanks. I may bring them down with me and actually get the, at least,
fell over.
We may even do the mini bow, just me and Lucas, me and my 4-year-old, just do that as a little starter thing and then go from there. So really, really excited. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions we can get to first? I had one ready and I lost it in all of our excitement. Oh, hello from Finland. Hi. I have wondered if it's normal for cherry barbs to dig into substrate for food, kind of like Corridoras. Mine do that after feeding. Is that a normal thing?
It can be. A lot of fish will actually forage on the bottom, especially if that's where the food ends up. Fish are relatively smart. So, like, if they notice that they're feeding and the food that they're chasing ends up in the substrate, they will go find it, right? Some fish won't. Some fish will be like, nah, it's gone. I saw it go past me. That's the end of that. But no, for the most part, a lot of fish will rummage for food. I've seen all kinds of barbs dig, tiger barbs, they see the food go down there, they might go looking for it. Lots of fish forage, not just bottom feeders. Some mid-water, even fish that hang out usually between mid and top will scrounge around the bottom after platies, mollies, and stuff can do that too. So yeah, no, it's possible.
Cool. This one that you're gonna like. My African dwarf frogs have just started singing. It sounds really odd. Do they sing? Was that a thing? Or is this an inside joke? I don't understand.
I've never heard them vocalize, but most.
I love that you add. I love how you add like the vocalize.
Yes, I love the singing. It's funny because I can just imagine what a dwarf frog sounds like. We should look it up after because I'm really curious
we
now.
will.
But I love dart frogs because of their vocalizations. Like one thing I miss about having dart frogs in my house is hearing them sing. Pamilio have a very distinct chirping that they do that's really, really nice. Aratus are super, super quiet. So I don't know if you remember back when I had that vivarium on my desk and the Aratus, they would be vocalizing with each other. I can't call it singing because it's so quiet that unless your head is against the glass, you don't hear it. But then you've got, various Ranitzmea species that, they're usually the small thumbnail dart frogs that hang out in the trees and stuff. These frogs are called thumbnail frogs because they are tiny. They are like literally an inch long, and they are so loud. It is insane. It's kind of like in North America, we have these small yellow frogs, yellowish, brownish frogs called spring peepers, and they are incredibly loud. For their size, it blows your mind how loud they are. So, number one, I've never seen a dwarf frog vocalize, an African dwarf frog, and I'm wondering, like, do they do it underwater? Like, like they're screaming and there's bubbles flying out of their mouth? Or do they go to the surface and stick their little head up and they're just like at the top of the tank screaming out of the tank? Like, I don't know what they do, but I'm super interested. That's really cool that you got to see that firsthand. That's a lot of fun. I've had African dwarf frogs and I've never seen that.
It says it's a buzzing sound. Henshaw says it's a buzzing sound.
That's awesome. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like some sort of like garbling sound or buzzing sound or chirping sound, and yeah, very cool.
Varshil says, African dwarf frogs sing.
That's amazing.
And he also says that he was setting up a new aquarium while watching this video. So
that's awesome.
And he's going to do a video on it. So that's really cool. Yeah, awesome. Anything else? Let's see here. Bubbly Pumpkin says my hubby got me back into the hobby, but as an it he wants to go. He really wants to go high tech. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading. I don't know why. Any suggestions? He's taking the 10-gallon tank to work. I'm trying to convince him to get a Betta.
I see. Here's the thing. Here's my suggestion.
Okay.
And
IT.
Gotcha. Yeah. So people get different things out of the hobby, and it's fun when you can mix a passion or things you love or things you're good at with the hobby. So, for instance, I am a complete gearhead when it comes to reef keeping. I love new equipment. I love new technology. I love experimenting with it and trying it. I've used so many different products, whether it's lighting or pumps or dosing methods, or like I want to try it all and I want to get nerdy with it because it just elevates a hobby that I already love for me. So if your hobby is an IT guy, technology's his thing, and he wants to go high tech on a plant tank because the technology interests him, go for it. You can still do high tech without it, completely blowing the bank. The size of the tank you do it on, the level of the products you're going for. Like if you go for really high end brands, let's say, or brands that are just typically very expensive, you're going to spend more money when you could get something extremely similar that's going to function in the same way from, a more affordable brand, let's say. So, sometimes people want, like for instance, ADA in North America is much more expensive because it's an imported product, and there's not a lot of places that carry ADA stuff, and because it's imported, it's extremely expensive. So, I don't personally use that stuff because I have access to things that I feel are, very similar in quality that are just easier for me to access by companies that are in North America already. So there are ways around it being super expensive and still being high tech. So I say just let your hubby go crazy with it, because if that's the part, if that part of the hobby is just going to elevate it for them, then that's the best. The best. I love it. I totally feel the IT side of that. I'm not an IT guy. I'm not like super computer savvy, but when it comes to complicated customized equipment, this guy gets excited.
Cool. I've had a few people say they're new. They've never been here before. They really like the stream. They've subscribed. Thank you guys so much. We do these streams every 2 weeks. So in another 2 Saturdays, you'll see us here again. Same fish time, same fish channel.
Yep.
We really look forward to it. Thanks for subbing. Hopefully we'll see you around for all of these and all our other videos.
Yes.
We are going to wrap it up. I told you we have the calls to do our international video.
Excited
video
to talk to you.
We've got a couple people. Stephen Gregory for one is waiting for his video call. So we're going to call you shortly, very shortly after this is over. Thanks to all of you guys who join us every 2 weeks for these live streams. I do want to say when you come here, the more you like, if you like the actual video, if you share it, if you tell people about our channel, we'd appreciate it because I love these. I have so much fun during these live streams.
Yes.
I'd love for an even bigger community to join us each time and really get the party going. So everything you guys do, from liking the actual live stream to sharing our channel, letting people know this Q&A exists, and saying, hey, if you have questions, come on and ask. We'd really love to grow this out, and the more people we get, the more often we can even do these streams. Because I have such a good time, I'd love to do this almost exclusively if I could. I love it.
Seriously, it's a lot of fun. And the more cool stuff we can do, the more we can leverage, the size of the stream to bring cooler and cooler content during our streams to you guys, whether it's giveaways or, fun little experiments and other things we can do live. Just make these longer.
Yes, we'd really love
to. Like Brian, we were talking, I think today wasn't supposed to be like a longer variety show type deal, but
we just did it.
I messaged him, I'm like, are we doing just a regular Q&A or are we doing like the variety show type thing? He's like, we could do either. I'm like, variety show.
I could do a variety show for sure.
Let's do it.
So really, the more
we love
people
hanging out with you.
So all that said, thank you guys so much. If you do want to continue supporting us, obviously, if you jump over to bigalspets.com, or if you live in Canada near a store, visit the store. Let them know you watch us. Let them know, hey, I saw your YouTube channel. I came in to say hi. Supporting us in that way really does help. The more people that we can reach, and if you guys do support us at bigalspets.com, the more awesome stuff we're going to be able to do in the future too. So we do appreciate you guys supporting us in that way. The super chats, thanks to everyone who sent one. That also does help us. And it helps us, grow and improve. And things like this, being able to redo the studio, every bit of support you guys give us, we're able to put back into, all of our efforts. So all of that said, thank you again so much. We'll have a new video coming out Monday. 5 more aquarium misconceptions. The last one was such a hit. We got 5 more for you guys. So let us know, make sure you comment, share that around. And that is about it for me. I'm going to stop. I'm a little long-winded. Anything else from you, my good man?
Just keep on tagging everyone, and thanks for coming in and hanging out with us today. We had tons of fun.
Yeah, we did.
Do it again in like a week or 2 or something.
Yep. 2. See ya.